There's nothing harder than going to someone's house and explaining to them that their child or their loved one has been killed, and especially when we don't have answers for them. And they deserve those answers.
Two brothers, two murders, separated by 8 years. In 2008, Joshua Dickerson was shot to death at the age of 22. In 2016, James Dickerson was gunned down at the age of 35. Joshua was found dead in 2008 along this roadway in Seaford. His brother James, BJ, was pulled from this Bridgeville home in 2016 after being shot several times. To this day, these cases remain unsolved, a reminder to police in Sussex County that the killer or killers are still out there.
It makes the community uneasy, and there's no way it can. You don't have to live, you could live miles from there and feel uneasy, and that's understandable.
The mystery as to why these cases remain unsolved really isn't a mystery at all. Investigators with the Delaware State Police who picked up Joshua's case in 2008 and BJ's case in 2016 have very little to go on.
It's extremely frustrating. It's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for the families. There are there are some cases out there that we are working on that we just don't have anything on.
Joshua was found dead at 3 in the morning on February 20th, 2008. Investigators say he was here along German Road in Seaford, blindfolded with his hoodie on backwards, shot several times.
A passerby on the highway that was driving had actually saw the body located on the side of the roadway and immediately called 911.
That passerby, the only one in this wooded community up against a pond that was able to help police. Investigators say that neighbors heard gunshots, but detectives have yet to find anyone to give an eyewitness account.
We have nothing, and even when troopers responded out to the scene, they didn't even have identification on the subject initially. It was through fingerprints that we were able to identify who the individual was.
As if Joshua's case wasn't frustrating enough, there's BJ's case. A case that begins with a blast of gunfire and a botched home invasion here at this quiet Conrail Road home in Bridgeville on the night of January 7th, 2016.
Police say a woman called from this house just before 1 a.m. on Thursday, saying that people had broken in, fired off gunshots, and ran off.
So when troopers arrived, they found a deceased male lying just inside the front door, and there were bullet holes recovered inside the door.
Detectives say that there were other people inside the home where BJ was a guest, but none of them were able to give police the information they needed to further the investigation. And the location here in an empty field surrounded by train tracks and crops make it unlikely that anyone else witnessed this crime.
Sometimes it just comes down to we need somebody from the public to come forward and point us in the right direction.
Police say BJ's murder likely wasn't random, and still the answers to a now 2-year-old case elude them.
Why this person? Why is this person targeted? Is this just circumstance, or what is it? And in this case, we just honestly don't know.
Investigators can't say if drugs were a factor, if it was a relationship that went south, or if there was more at play. And they can't say if BJ had trouble in his past that may have led to that fatal night in 2016.
We don't want to narrow ourselves or keep such a small scope that we miss something, because we just don't want to miss something.
The same is true for detectives working Joshua's case. Investigators who find themselves scratching the surface 10 years later.
We have no leads at this point, and we're certainly just looking for that one person that knows something to please come forward and say something.
For police, the inability to track down whoever is responsible is haunting. Knowing that the killer or killers may be out there, choosing another victim is a difficult and disturbing reality.
This could be your son, this could be your brother, it could be your father, and we don't want to see that happen to anybody.
Still, 2 years later, 10 years later, their work remains unfinished. The case is unsolved, and while they may not be linked, the killers may not be the same. They will always be connected by those that love them and those who continue to fight for them.